beside the clock. Dark though it was, there was never a feeling of being closed in. The gold of the pendulum, bells, and chains gave off a dull glitter, but in an expansive way. Danny jumped to the lowest weight and hurried up the chain, a trick of the trade her mother had shown her. Why did the action seem so natural to her, when she had never before done it alone? Pushing that thought aside, she was soon at the top, in the box that contained the very works of the clock. Her mother had often shown Danny how to enter the clock, not only as it was what her mother did, and Danny would be expected to do the same when her time came, but it was also a place of safety in time of need. Her mother had taken great pride in this trick of the trade, which was another inexplicable thing to Danny. "But why?" she would demand, only to hear her mother say patiently, "Danny, it is the way of things. Sometimes you just have to act on faith." This seldom comforted Danny, but her mother was so kind and gentle that Danny felt she ought to at least try to accept this thing called faith, whatever it was, even though not doing so seemed more sensible. At the top of the mechanism, at the far side of the face of the clock, was a hole. It was there since time immemorial. Why was it there? Another curiosity that her mother just took on faith, but it would prove very helpful today. The hole led to the top of the clock and a grand view of the room. Even the cat, when it wasn't just fiddling around, but was instead making an attempt at chasing the mice of the house, knew better than to try to ascend this clock. Firstly, it was smooth wood on 3 sides, and had equally smooth glass in the front. There were no good footholds for the kind of jumps that would be needed to get to the top, and the one time the cat had considered an attempt, the farmer's wife had twigged it immediately and knocked the cat silly for even having the thought, and the cat did not forget this. It was shortly after that clubbing that the cat started murdering the violin. Somehow it had a soothing effect on the farmer's wife. Another thing Danny could not fathom. They called it music. Rubbish. Atop her perch, Danny saw the farmer's wife make her approach, carrying the tub of water and a mop. Danny could see a small stream of water coming from the base of the tub. "Still not mended properly," Danny silently chided. The farmer's wife put down the tub and balanced the mop against the wall. Danny averted her gaze as the farmer's wife swept up the remains of her cousins. Danny looked again after hearing the pan and broom set down. The virago was struggling with the carving knife now, wiggling it gently back and forth so as not to leave too big a gap in the wood. It gave suddenly, and the farmer's wife rose unsteadily, very close to the clock. Then Danny struck. She jumped straight onto the farmer's wife's head, landing with a slight thump on the bonnet. The farmer's wife went suddenly stiff at the feeling, her head giving a decided shake. Danny had grabbed onto the white fabric and let gravity work. She rode the bonnet down the farmer's wife's forehead until she was completely in the woman's line of vision. The farmer's wife was now totally rigid, as even the head shake had stopped. Her eyes grew wide, and her mouth took on an O quality. Quite abruptly, Danny squeaked out, "Murderer!" and leapt onto the farmer's wife's ample bosom, skittering up and around her back. Suddenly galvanized into action, the farmer's wife let out a scream that became a bellow as she reached around for Danny, and the bellow became a scream yet again as the woman had forgotten that the hand attempting to reach and swat was still gripping the carving knife which now pierced into her own shoulder. She jerked the blade out and fell back into the clock, which teetered slowly away before rocking back over and crashing onto the bloodied shoulder of the farmer's wife. Danny had already scurried down the harridan's back, onto her skirt, and had made a calculated leap to the rug on the floor before turning back to look at the chaos in her wake. Her jaw dropped slightly at the sight of the inert figure on the floor. The huge box of the clock cracked in places.